friends. I'm Carrie Lake, author of Spiritually Gifted, which is my autobiography and memoir. And today I will read for you chapter 5, titled, You Can't See Past the Tip of Your Nose. And I need to share with you that, I don't know, maybe you've had this experience where you start a project and then everything changes. Originally, I was planning on reading more chapters for you, but this is going to be the last chapter that I read in this format on video for you. But I want to let you know that to continue with this, the audiobook is available on my website. If you go to carrielake.com under products, on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see the option for the audiobook, the ebook, or a signed copy of the paperback. So please go and continue the journey there from chapter 6 on, or re-listen to the first chapters if you like. The point, again, of sharing this with you is to help you recognize yourself. Not everybody has grown up in the same culture that I have, and not for a moment would I assume that. But there are certain growth patterns, certain ways that we process our world that seem to actually be common among us. And as we listen to one another's experiences and listen from a place that is actually giving ourselves permission to see ourselves, we enter this place where our hearts are actually communicating with one another outside space and time. It's that feeling of somebody understands. It's the feeling of I'm not alone. The places where we feel not alone, we're in a very real way touching in with the part of myself that is common and connected with everybody else. However, whatever tools, whatever the journey is, whatever the steps are, whatever the experiences are for you to know that part of yourself, that's like the point of being here. That's the point of awakening, of healing, of awareness, self-awareness, mindfulness, meditation. It's to know yourself included in all of life, included in the communication of all of life. That's what lights me up, especially watching when people feel this spaciousness, when people can feel themselves in a different way, where even literally 5 or 10 seconds at a time, people have the experience of taking a break from holding themselves apart from life. Even just 10 seconds at a time is the most beautiful thing. And that 10 seconds of a break touches all of our aspects, our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, the soul level that has brought forward from other lifetime experiences these patterns of consciousness that shape who we think we are. This lifetime, for many of us, and if you're sitting here listening to me right now, you're included. This lifetime is very much a commitment from our collective heart to say, you know what? I'm all done repeating and bringing the past forward from eons and eons and eons of how humans do life. and instead to say, there's a different way. Show me a different way. I want to know how it feels to be myself differently, without the conflicts. Sharing my journey and my experiences with you, rather than giving a step-by-step system for here's how, you repeat these steps and you'll be free of your conflict. Well, there's lots of tools that teach that way, and they're all going to be effective for some certain people at certain levels, or many people at certain level of consciousness and awareness. The way this book is written and why it's written in such a raw way is to acknowledge that this is how it feels going through the journey. And it's okay to feel. And in fact, when you come to the place where you can recognize that you do feel what you feel, and you're willing to feel yourself free of that, that freedom is always with you. The reason why on my website, the theme of the website is feel without fear, is because when we are willing to have a different relationship with our experiences, with our judgments of our experiences, with the fear that's been generated by the judgments of our experiences, just that willingness to have a different relationship with our own experience, that moment of willingness, that's our freedom. My favorite feedback about this book so far came in a chapter reading, and I read chapter 13 to that group. And when the reading was finished, one of the participants said that chapter was perfectly uncomfortable. And I love that. I love that. The point of life is not to avoid feeling things. But we have this option and so much more support than ever to have a different relationship with what we feel, and a different relationship with who I think I am, so that I can welcome a relationship of love and purity between my mind, my heart, and my world. So here it is, chapter 5. You can't see past the tip of your nose. National Geographic is about to start. It's another episode on big cats. Today it's cheetahs. That theme music is the breath of life. It means I can relax. Everything relaxes. I get to watch without feeling their thoughts about how bad everything is. It's educational, which means no conflicts from my parents. It's real, and it shows me the rest of the world beyond this neighborhood, beyond all these neighborhoods. I get to see people with skin colors different than mine, clothes different than what Madonna wears. It's about nature, so I can relax and actually feel real for 45 minutes. It's hard living in a place where everyone around me feels the same kind of numb. We moved here almost a year ago. Somehow this is supposed to be the good life, but I don't know how good it is when nobody around me feels like they love animals. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to want to go shopping and use hairspray, but those things make my head hurt. They make me want to close my eyes. I'm supposed to feel special because I have the California girl look. Even that makes no sense because people look at me and say, "You're so lucky you have blonde hair. I hate you." I'm supposed to think that's funny or like flattering or something. Really, it feels like people use my appearance to hate themselves. That actually sucks. I just want to go and be with horses or lie down with Pooh. He's the dog member of our family who traveled with us from Illinois, and talk to him the way Patty and I used to talk. My parents keep telling me when I get to high school, I'll discover boys and forget all about animals, that I won't care anymore about horses. I don't know why they keep saying such mean things to me as if it's true. It's like they're daring me to be something, but I can't figure out what they want me to be. I refuse to believe they're actually trying to break my heart, but that's how it feels. It feels like they're trying to break me the way people break horses. Maybe that's why I understand horses so well. I don't even really understand what they're talking about. And when I ask them to explain, they just say, "Oh, you'll find out," with that taunting tone. It feels like a threat, threatening me with my own future misery. I feel sad every time they say it. That's not me. It's not going to be real for me. But it's really hard not to be what they tell me I am. National Geographic doesn't always get it right, what they say about the animals. I think they just need to ask different questions. They talk all day about hunting and reproduction. They say things like, "The lions don't know whether they'll live another day." David Attenborough can get a little dramatic. I love his soothing voice anyway. He's as excited about nature as I am, even though he's a little caught up in breeding, eating, and shelter as if that's all that exists. He's missing everything about the relationships. He's not talking about the way animals communicate information about life in general, being beyond who is eating who. He only talks about animal friendships like they are survival alliances. He's not talking about the animal's self-awareness or loving communications. I listen to him anyway and watch all of the stuff he doesn't talk about. He has good information, even if it's not a complete picture. Watching adult lions teach young lions how to live is really informative. A young lion is born to an adult lion in order to learn how to be a good lion. That seems like straight logic to me. You can see the adults considering what to show the little ones. You can feel them expanding their hearts and awareness out through the savannah as they prepare their next relocation. It's the adult lion's job to show the young lions how to succeed in life. That's the agreement. The young ones aren't stupid, they just lack experience. This much is clear. Adult lions get better at teaching by noticing what young lions need to learn. The adult lions welcome this teaching part of life and show the little ones what works, a little more each day, eventually taking them out grocery shopping when they're old enough. That's what I call hunting, grocery shopping. Everyone needs to eat, right? It makes perfect sense to me how nature propagates and perpetuates itself. There's a perpetual harmony that touches everything. Every member of the family helps inform and provide what's necessary for the whole family to thrive. It's the same whether the animals are labeled as predators or prey. Actually, those labels really get in the way. Maybe the labels are what keep David Attenborough from talking about communication and relationships. Is this not obvious to him? If the show is trying to prove that predators only think about life in terms of hunting, I guess it wouldn't make sense to talk about tenderness or awareness. I might have to rethink my logic about these shows to apply their information in a different way. Today, the show on cheetahs is a rerun on PBS. I've seen it before, but that doesn't matter. There are always more conversations I can have with the animals on camera, more ways to tune in, more truth to feel. The cheetah mom is chasing a gazelle. David is narrating, saying something about the poor, frightened gazelle, and it's clear from his tone that I'm supposed to feel pity for the gazelle or her baby or her herd or something. I have to stop and take a look at that. Why would I feel pity? Why would I not feel pity? Everyone needs to eat. Cheetah babies don't eat unless cheetah moms kill someone else's babies. Gazelle babies live by eating milk and grass. They don't need to kill other animals. That's just the way it's designed. Why would I feel pity? It is what it is. Thank God for National Geographic. Without it, I have absolutely no context for how to listen to mom and dad. Mom and dad are the adult humans. Their job is to show the young humans how to be successful in life, just like adult lions showing young lions. They're older than me, so they already know this. I pay attention to their behaviors and actions, learning by example. This is how nature works, and nature is an already self-perpetuating system that certainly doesn't need me to try and improve on it. It's actually there for me to ride like a wave, just like the animals on the savannah. Mom and Dad watch National Geographic with me sometimes, and they have way more life experience than I do. I'm sure they're already operating from this kind of awareness, and they're teaching me in this way. I'll explore that and see. When they say the mean and hurtful things, they must be showing me something about how to succeed as an adult human. I'll keep paying attention. When I feel no pity, it's easier to see the communication between the cheetahs and the gazelles. I can feel their interactions better now. I can see their strategies and feel the rest of the gazelle herd staying connected with the one being chased. I can feel the cheetah's love for her life and her babies. I can feel how they don't have any pity for one another. There is so much life there. I'm going to watch my family this way, with no pity. See what happens. I'm going to just take this wisdom and use it in my world to learn the best I can. If I pay attention, I can learn to live without repeating other people's mistakes. The show is ending. Dad is home. Hi! I run over to give him a hug. Hi, Carrie. He's kind of distracted. In my heart, it feels like he's really unhappy. How was school? School. I forgot about that. It was hours ago, way before National Geographic. Sometimes I say answers that I know will be acceptable because I don't quite know how to tell the truth about how school is. I get so much good information from National Geographic, I can't figure out why kids are required to endure the social torture of being hated for being who they are. School is great. Good. His heart is really small right now. School should be great. You're smart. You're my daughter. That didn't feel like a compliment, even though he wants me to think it is. How was work? I ask him, just so he knows I'm thinking about his day too. You wouldn't understand, he tells me. You're too young. But I already do understand how it feels. I can feel all the emotions he's feeling. The details really don't matter when it feels this horrible. I tell him, it's okay. I know how that feels too. This is me telling the truth. Carrie, when someone gives you a compliment, they are lying. Don't ever believe them. Now there is fire bursting from his head and lava pouring from his mouth. The energy of his communication blinds me. The word I know that matches this sensation is betrayed. I'm smart. I'm his daughter. He'll listen to me. It's going to be okay, Dad. I have no doubt it's going to be okay. Life keeps going forward, and even when a herd of gazelle loses a member to the lions or cheetahs, the family herd keeps living. It's just nature. It's just what it is. Carrie, he barks at me, shoving my heart back into that cave. You don't know what you're talking about. I consider that suggestion for a moment, and it doesn't seem true. I do know that betrayed feeling. I'll bring that feeling forward along with a lot of love, like the dogs and I do together. He knows I'm smart. After all, I'm his daughter. He'll listen to me. Why do you work there if you're so unhappy? I thought I'd start testing out what it is to watch my family with no pity. I'm always encouraged to do my own research, and this is a perfect opportunity. I'm standing on the stairs that go up to the bedrooms. He's standing on the other side of the foyer. Somehow, big things like this always seem to happen in the foyer. Carrie, he booms at me, you can't see past the tip of your nose. There are other people on this planet, you know, besides yourself. I made a decision, and now I'm responsible for it. You can't possibly understand. I work there because you need to eat. You need a place to live. I work there to give you life. You'll understand this one day when you're really, really old, like 30. It's no mystery to me that money comes from his work and money pays for groceries. The mystery is why having a family is a problem. Yeah, but you're miserable now, I say, somehow finding words to say out loud. I would rather have you be happy and play your guitar again, and we can live in a smaller house. That would be better. Yeah? What would I do for work, for money? His heart feels more sad and more desperate. Actually, it's like there's a wall around it now. It's like he can't hear me at all, like my input has no value. You would do something else. This is straight, simple logic. He should be able to see that, right? I continued, you know, right now, it seems like just because I'm 12 years old, you think there's nothing you can learn from me. I'm supposed to learn everything from you. Yes, that's right. His confirmation is sharp. According to nature, this makes no sense. Adults learn from teaching the young while the young learn from the adults. It's part of how the harmony takes care of things. And even if it weren't nature's way, what the heck does he want me to get when he tells me I'm smart? Am I smart around everyone but him? I wish I knew what else to pay attention to so I could be more clear and aware. If he could just see the way nature is built, maybe he'll see that he doesn't have to be so hard on himself. But I don't know how to communicate that yet. There's more to life than your perfect little world, Carrie. His emotions are blinding, like acid thrown all over my senses. My world is all about his world, or at least it could be if he would let it. Maybe I'll have to make my nose grow longer so I can see what my dad sees. My world doesn't actually feel perfect yet. My personal view is that spirituality is simply a willingness to see that all of life is an interactive system, indivisible from itself. How you identify with it, or what you do in your personal life, never changes the interrelatedness of life itself. Being spiritually gifted just means you have a broad, natural capacity to see life in this way before anyone ever suggests it to you. You may choose to develop this capacity, to know your senses and condition your thinking to see life's wholeness. You may also choose to focus on conflict, control, and repulsion. Where you focus doesn't change the direction we're all headed in life. It only determines the kind of experience you have on the journey. Several times over the next few years, I heard my dad tell me I can't see past the tip of my nose while I stood on the stairs. Each time it hurt, and each time it drove me to open up to a new perspective. It seemed like my dad was competing with me for smartness. Being smart was very important, and he was often hard on me when I would have been very happy to get smarter without the harshness. I've shared this with many people throughout my life, and most have said to me, "Carrie, you have to have compassion for your dad. He was just trying to help you." Or people say, "Carrie, you have to have compassion for your dad. You don't know what it's like having kids." Both points are well taken, and have been my whole life. To me, in the moment, my compassion knew that if he is this hard on me, imagine how hard he is on himself. I've had no lack of compassion. Even with the compassion, I didn't know myself unless I had conflict to endure. My logic at this time in my life was very simple and direct. My awareness of nature was synonymous with my awareness of God. When I talk about nature and God, it doesn't feel the same to me as the God people talk about in religion. It's just nature. It's just love. I was aware of my awareness, and I figured my family was aware of theirs. To assume otherwise seemed both insulting and unwise. I didn't know that I was applying a totally unique use of perspective to my experiences. Even with the education I had from National Geographic and other PBS shows, I still had no real religious or spiritual context. I knew about meditation and monasteries. I knew about Catholicism and Christianity. I knew that the distaste for organized religion was potent enough for my dad to walk away from the Catholic Church, which was a grand effort of courage all by itself. Through all of these constructs of religion and society, the simple harmony of nature rang true. No matter what religion a person subscribes to, the trees still produce green leaves in the springtime. One day, Mom and Dad came to me and said, "Carrie, we think you should have a religion, but we don't want to force you into one by our choice. We want you to do some research and choose a religion for yourself." That was a good day. My parents handed religious freedom to their 12-year-old daughter. I love when they let me feel their true hearts. I set about studying religions, watching what they say, where they might guide me. Each of them has beauty to offer. Each of them has punishment. What I found above all else is that if I choose one, it means I'd have to push away the others. If I choose another, I'd be pushing away my second or third choice. Choosing one meant making another wrong, and in nature, making one form of life wrong is just not a reality. A crocodile does not think a hippo is wrong because the hippo does not eat a wildebeest. A goldfinch is not wrong for eating flaxseed while a crow eats sunflower seeds. Each of them is moving in the same direction, toward harmony of life. Choosing one religion seemed as pointless as working for 30 years at a job that makes you hate yourself. But I did pay attention to where all of the religions were pointing in the same direction, toward divinity. I considered many different rituals, beliefs, and adherences. I explored each rendition of heaven or nirvana or Eden. What I discovered was that every religion is pointing in the direction of communion with God, and that made things easy. Nature already has that down. Let yourself be in harmony with nature, and you are in communion with God. There is nothing to prove, no punishments to endure, no people to fear. Nature is waiting there, doing its things, ready for us to do our things with it, with as much love and purity as a cheetah going grocery shopping. Once I had my clarity, I went back to my parents to tell them the good news that I'd found my religion. They were excited to hear because they were excited to support me, and that felt awesome. I told them that my religion is a religion of one, that to do what it takes for me to flourish in harmony with nature is my religion because it's the best way for me to contribute to all of life. And I had never seen that look on their faces before. Maybe I was a bit outside of their expectations. Looking back on it, I can see where the parents of a preteen might hear this and think it's just the self-serving ego of their wayward daughter. Knowing how hard my parents were on themselves, that look could have also been like a facepalm of, oh, what kind of deviant have we created? I didn't know how to express myself any more clearly. I was operating on the assumption that they were aware of the harmony of nature the same way I was. After all, they watch National Geographic too, and they're smart, and they're my parents, right? Their incredulous response nearly shattered my psyche. I had done exhaustive research, followed all the rules, considered many different perspectives, and reported my findings. I had looked beyond the tip of my nose. Yet, they still pushed my heart into a cave. They put walls in front of their own hearts. This was a particular kind of devastation to me, and it was the impetus for a whole new level of looking beyond my own nose. The only way to continue forward in my relationship with my parents was to let them be just as they are. I had to stop trying to figure out what they wanted me to think because I always ended up with something they couldn't see. I had to stop trying to figure out whether they were trying to hurt me on purpose or not. I had to let myself not know the answers. Within my heart was a tremendous conflict between the requirement that I learn from my parents and the evidence that they don't know how to teach me. I had to find new teachers. Sharing that with you reminds me what's really valuable to me about that chapter and about sharing that experience is to remember that people are of every age are perceiving the world with different assumptions than myself. Assumptions happen in the mind. It's the assessment of how appropriate or inappropriate, how good or bad, how right or wrong something in life is. That's assumptions. And if I'm living in my evaluative mental approach to relating to people, then I'm working really, really hard in the land of assumptions to figure out who I'm talking to and where they're coming from. But when instead we become willing to connect in the space that is common among us through our heart, through that connection of harmony with nature that is already part of us, that we can feel when we're willing to feel, then we're connecting with one another outside of assumptions. We become able to feel how people are, how we each are responding to our assumptions, rather than trying to manage the details of the assumptions in the conversation. And when we receive and address each other from that place that is common, that's where we become able to see our assumptions, even my own assumptions, a lot more clearly. The assumption that my parents must be learning from David Attenborough the same way that I was. That's how it was, right? For me. But I had to come to the place in my heart where I had to give them permission to see the world differently than I do, rather than assuming that they see what I see. And it feels different. It's a different experience of being alive, of being yourself, of knowing who you actually are, and that who you actually are might feel different than who you think you are. And it's that absence of judgment that is the harmony of nature, that is already part of ourselves, that lets us meet one another in that space that is common among us. So thank you for being on the 5-chapter ride with me. If you'd like to continue with the audiobook, please go to carrielake.com. I'll put the link in the notes or the description place there. And you can continue on with the book. And if you find you would like any guidance or assistance, then please connect with me as well. There's a whole series of teleconferences coming up later this year into next year, and opportunities to create together, to work together over a period of time. If you have your own details you'd like to address and move through, more of yourself, always more of yourself. And thank you so much. I hope that this was enjoyable and valuable for you. And I wish you nothing but the best. Namaste.